A reading from the Book of Wisdom. The wicked say, "Let us beset the just one, because he is obnoxious to us. He sets himself against our doings, reproaches us for transgressions of the law, and charges us with violations of our training. Let us see whether his words be true. Let us find out what will happen to him. For if the just one be the Son of God, God will defend him and deliver him from the hand of his foes. With revilement and torture, let us put the just one to the test, that we may have proof of his gentleness and try his patience. Let us condemn him to a shameful death, for according to his own words, God will take care of him." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
This weekend we hear from the Book of Wisdom, one of the last books to be written in the Old Testament in the couple of generations preceding the birth of Christ. And as we listen to this reading, we can almost hear all of Old Testament history undergoing a kind of crescendo as we approach the coming of the Messiah. We hear echoes of the prophet Isaiah and the suffering servant, as we hear the words of the torture and death of the righteous man at the hands of the wicked. It makes you wonder what kind of crime this person must have committed to cause so much resentment, so much revilement among his peers. It could be because he was reproaching his peers, although I have to imagine that thing happened all the time, right, in ancient Israel. No, if I had to guess, what scandalized the wicked so much, what hurt the wicked so much, was not that he had this or that opinion about the law, but it was that he said that he was the Son of God, and that God was his Father, and that the righteous would be raised on the last day. Hope is scandalous. It's so scandalous, in fact, that in the middle of this passage it says that the wicked could not even bear to look at the righteous man. It reminds me of a little bit when we walk on campus at the university, right? And as you're going through the sea of undergrads, right? They just put their eyes down and they say, "Please do anything but look at me. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want you to evangelize me," right? It's the act of hope that's scandalous. And perhaps we should take comfort in that. The fact that we are always going to be a little bit on the outside if we follow the gospel. That if people call us obnoxious, it's because they call Jesus obnoxious. At the same time, I think we have to be careful. If we are the kind of people who are wearing white robes in this room, or if we're the kind of people who watch homilies on the internet, we probably don't have to worry so much about whether we are on this side or that side of the divide of the law. I think it can be perhaps a practice of self-indulgence to take readings like this and put ourselves in the shoes of the righteous man and put those people, whoever those people are, the undergrads perhaps, in the shoes of the wicked. I don't think the church gives us these kinds of readings so that we can be proud of ourselves. I think the church gives us these kinds of readings related to the passion of Christ, so that we can humble ourselves. After all, the greatest tragedy in all of this was not that the righteous man died at the hands of the wicked. The greatest tragedy was that the wicked too were being invited into that same relationship of being sons and daughters of God, but that their pride got in the way. They were unable to accept the righteous man's hope because of their own pride. Pride and hope can never coexist. Because if we really do have hope, if we really do know that we have this destiny to live with God forever, then we know that it can in no way be our own doing. We know that once we have that hope, we no longer have to worry so much. We no longer have to be so concerned. We're no longer so threatened by what the rest of the world is doing. Conversely, for the wicked, why were they so threatened by the righteous man? if he couldn't hurt them. It was their own pride. It was his witness. It was his witness to something greater. So perhaps it's not so helpful if we put ourselves in the shoes of the righteous and we put them in the shoes of the wicked. But it's that we put ourselves in the shoes of the wicked and we put Christ in the shoes of the righteous. If Christ was reviled and underwent torture, it's because we reviled him and tortured him through our own pride. That every time that we engage in whatever practice it is, bitterness, backbiting, gossip, our need to control, our need to be consulted, the way we relate to one another, the way we despise one another, that we do the same to Christ. That Christ was tortured, that Christ died because we made it happen. But more importantly, that Christ loved us so much that he let it happen.